And I strongly see here that it looks like Kelis wanted to just leave that wall behind. She wanted to leave, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if Jay wanted Kelis. I'm just going to put it out there. Because I get an energy tied to Nas, Jay-Z and Beyoncé that she was trying to get away from. So, with the present being 3 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, Ace of Cups. I see here Beyoncé is going to kind of offer her. I wouldn't be surprised if she like tries to. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Light Tarot. My name is Hallie, so grateful to have you all. This is a channel about hard topics through a tarot perspective. So I'm always taking requests. Every week I post in my community tab if you'd like to request a video. So make sure, stay tuned for that. Also, I just started doing memberships. I'm so excited about that. And thank you for the support and continued growth. With the membership, it's listed in the membership tab, so check it out. Also, I pre-release videos through the membership for members first, so please make sure if you are interested in getting first access to videos and so forth and other perks, check it out. Okay, so this was suggested. Thank you for making the suggestion. I was going to kind of cover it. I will have what are those things called, timestamps about this, because I have a personal story about this. So this video is Beyoncé versus Kelis. I had completely forgotten this story, and it's so funny. I always like encounter and meet people that have worked with Beyoncé or Jay-Z. I think I touched on it before. I'm going to elaborate a bit more because I feel like now that things are coming out, I don't really care about the Beehive. If you want to come after me, I could not be bothered. I don't care. I know that sometimes people seem like they're angelic and so forth, and I myself was a part of the Beehive for many years. I was so into Beyoncé especially through her era of single ladies. I kind of fell off the wagon around her fall phase, but I got, especially because of like the whole plagiarism thing, as a former artist, a songwriter, I used to be a songwriter, I used to be a singer, it was very upsetting to hear certain things. But then I was like, you know what, I can't go by what other people have said, so I became a Beehive again, Lemonade, and strongly Lemonade. And then I would meet a couple of people, so I find very interesting. I was moving to LA the end of 2017, and the beginning of 2017 I knew I was going to move to LA from New York. Beginning of 2017, it was my birthday. I remember this very specifically because I met a famous basketball player. My birthday was really funny. Anyways, I was singing karaoke. I was at a karaoke lounge, and this lady came up to me and she was like, after I had sang the song, I sang Irreplaceable by Beyoncé. She came up to me. I'm not going to divulge her name because I think she deserves that privacy. And she came up to me and she was like, yeah, I used to work with Beyoncé and Solange, and she just seemed very broken. But she seemed like a very sweet soul. But she seemed like something had happened to her that she needed to heal from. You know what I'm saying? So we spoke and she seemed so lovely, and she was just then she was like, oh, I said to her, I'm getting ready for the new phase of my life. And she was like, where? And I was like, oh, I'm moving to Los Angeles. And she was like, oh my gosh, I just moved from there. And she seemed very jaded about it, and I just let her speak because we all have different experiences, and I feel like I don't think she was projecting, she was just releasing. And sometimes it's important to hold space for people to do that. So I listened to her and I didn't say anything, and she said that working with Beyoncé was absolutely horrible, and there was a lot of ego involved, a lot of stealing, she alleges, a lot of people just being very cutthroat. And she said she went in there, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said she went in there working with the Knowles family. She thought it was going to be a place where she could artistically thrive, but she found out that it was very corporate, very much they didn't want to hear what she had to say. She was, I don't want to say what she did for her, but she was very creatively involved in that. And now she could be lying, she could, but I don't believe that. I can always sense when people are being authentic and are telling the truth, and maybe that's the what's the word, the naive side of me. But something about her story just came across very, very true. Backtrack to, so that's one story. Backtrack to New Year's I met New Year's Day. I met this guy, and we kind of started dating, and I don't want to get too much into it because he deserves our privacy too, and I ended things not really on a good note with him. But he used to work with Jay-Z. He told me stories about how Jay-Z took his stuff without giving him credit. And in the beginning, he was like, okay, at some point he will, you know, and he didn't. So he found himself just like grappled between wanting to file a lawsuit versus actually letting it go. And as somebody who's had their work stolen, I had a former producer, well, it wasn't really stolen, but he would steal ideas from, because I used to teach him yoga, he would steal ideas from my yoga class that I taught him. He would like say word for word and put it into a song. That's another story I'll get into one day. But as somebody who's had people steal the ideas, I've had people like copy me on Instagram and so forth and so forth. When you create something, it's in your heart, and when it's in your heart, it's so, you want to protect it with everything, every fiber of your being. And I only say that to say, we've heard for years and years and years of Beyoncé plagiarizing, of Beyoncé allegedly stealing, and if you look on YouTube, there's many videos about it. So Beehive, I don't care if you come after me, come after me. And I also think what's very upsetting is that Beyoncé does not address the Beehive. That's something I've always said that I love about Selena Gomez. Whenever her hive, whatever they're called, goes after other people, she says stop. She puts an end to it. But there's something very sinister about the fact that Beyoncé just lets her Beehive, and granted, she can't control them, but they will listen to her if she says stop. That's why I'm so adamant about, in my comment section, people not being rude to each other. Because if you create that culture, if you create that community, you have a responsibility to have boundaries around it and to protect other people. So that's just my little personal story. I have other stories too. One day they'll come up, but I don't know why I've always had stories. Maybe because I'm from New York. I've had stories, many stories about people who've worked, knowing people who've worked with Beyoncé and Jay-Z, and just horrible stories. People that, yeah, so I don't want to get too much into it because I need to also ask them for their consent. Okay, so, but I will at some point. So Beyoncé versus Kelis. So I looked up the chart, and Kelis' sun and moon on Leo. I couldn't find her rising. Beyonce's sun is in Virgo, moon is in Scorpio, and rising is in Libra. Okay, so that's very interesting. They're past 6 of Swords, Temperance, and the Fool. Haha. I strongly feel like Kelis was trying to make there was a history with them. There has been a history with them, and it's interesting because there was a history between Nas and Jay-Z. And if you know the whole either thing of when Jay-Z attacked Nas defended himself. It went on for about 10 years or so, if I can remember correctly. He went into hip-hop like I am. and from New York like I am. It was a big thing because both are from New York and they were fighting each other. People just wanted them to be friends and it wasn't going well. But from all the people that I know that have worked with Jay-Z, they all say he has a lot of ego. Lots of ego. And I strongly see here that it looks like Kelis wanted to just leave that world behind. She wanted to leave, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if Jay wanted Kelis. I'm just going to put it out there. Because I get an energy tied to Nas, Jay-Z and Beyoncé that she was trying to get away from. So, with the present being 3 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, Ace of Cups. I see here Beyoncé is going to kind of offer her. I wouldn't be surprised if she like tries to send her flowers or something like that, because it's all about image to Beyoncé, especially with her rising in Libra. It's how everything appears. That's why she doesn't do lots of interviews. Also the Virgo, you know, Virgos can be very perfectionists. But you know, and this is why I told that personal story, because when I found out a lot of the stuff that I found out about Beyoncé, and there's a lot of darker stuff. I know somebody who worked with her who had a very traumatic story, very dark story that I will tell one day if I feel like it, if I feel emotionally ready to do it. But when I heard that story, I was a strong beehive. And I had to really look at who I was following. And it kind of like shifted how I viewed celebrities. That they have this persona, and Beyoncé is great at putting on a persona. And just like Kelis said, it's not even doing it, it's perceiving the notion that she is it, which she's great at. She's done her whole life. I think that's why she's become so famous, you know? And I want to do one day just about her and different people. I think I'm going to do that one day, because I do think she has a side of her, and that's her Moon in Scorpio, that's very vindictive against people that do better than her. I can see that very strongly. So right now Beyoncé is like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? Because she's not used to being in the hot seat like this. A lot of people pick up for her. But right now she's like, what should I do? What should I do? How can I? Because some people don't like me. Some people don't, you know, that kind of energy. So now she's going to be like, let's do something together to make it seem like everything's fine. And even if you look at her family, like both of her parents are Capricorns, which is very interesting. But her dad allegedly cheated on her mother. For me, I say allegedly for legal purposes, but there's lots of evidence out there. And he was like that with other women, had a secret life, allegedly, even though there's evidence out there. And I think she has been raised, and her chart too supports this, her birth chart, to hide anything bad, to hide anything truthful, and sweep it under the rug and keep going, which is very, very unhealthy. So for the future, the Empress, 4 of Cups, and 9 of Pentacles. We already see this, and the album is not doing as well as Beyoncé thought. I mean, I don't even really like the album. And this is the thing, I've learned to separate like great music, and especially because I used to be in Hollywood. I used to teach yoga to a lot of celebrities, so I've seen how a lot of them can behave, and it's not pretty. And seeing that versus like interacting with those people versus hearing their music, especially because I dated a famous DJ producer guy, and when I used to hear songs he wrote about me, it was very upsetting, you know what I'm saying? Very, very, very upsetting. So I strongly feel as though she is going to have to face herself, because it's going to keep coming out. And the more that she is inspired by other artists and just takes all this stuff and pays homage to other artists, just take all their stuff, it's not going to work anymore. It's the land right now. Her wealth is at stake if she continues the inauthenticity. And I would say the reverse for Kelis. I get the Empress energy with Kelis because she's embodying, you know, it's so funny, I used to freaking love Kelis, her music, and people are dragging her, but I would argue that Kelis was the Beyoncé of our day. You know, Get Along With You is one of my favorite songs. I listen to it a lot. I can't say how much, and I have for 20 years. You know, I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my dad's house on the couch, and this is what was so cool about Kelis. There were no other artists like her doing what she was doing, you know. And I remember watching Get Along With You. Like, I used to like Caught Out There and stuff like that. In fact, Kelis was such a rebel that my mother wouldn't even allow me to have the CD. She was like, I don't want that music in my house. I'm paraphrasing, but it was a long time ago. I just remember that I wasn't allowed to own Kelis' CD. But I remember sitting on my dad's couch in his house. He had this big screen and like a Bose system, and I heard Get Along With You for the first time. I was like, dun, 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 dun. And I got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it, and it was 20 years ago, you know. But it left such an impact on me when she was like, I don't need no paper, you know, I don't need any of this, I just want to be with you, you know. And I didn't know what that meant at that time, but it was just so powerful. She was pouring her heart out, so I can only imagine how she felt. And she's the kind of person, at least I can tell, she pours her heart out into everything, and she poured her heart out into this, and she got hurt. So with the world, things are she's going to start, and it's funny because, you know, they say in the Bible, I don't really follow the Bible like that, just like some quotes, like I get from everything, but you used it, what your enemies, I'm paraphrasing, but it says what your enemies use against you, God will use for your light, something like that. And I get that very strongly with her right now. So 6 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and Kelis is not perfect, but she's authentic. And right now with the age of Aquarius, authenticity is number one. That's why people are coming after Beyoncé. And because I believe she's the most manufactured, this is my belief, my opinion, and I'm allowed to. Beyoncé is the most manufactured, produced, and fake artist there is out there. I strongly believe that. Second, J-Lo. So 6 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, 9 of Swords. This is going to have a big impact. It's already having a big impact on Beyonce's album, and it's not doing well. And I know lots of Beehive are going to be like, her album's doing great, she's amazing. Yeah, believe that. But the truth is the truth, you know. Single Ladies, everybody was dancing to it. You know what I'm saying? All her albums, everybody has been dancing to. This one, other than Break My Soul, can you name one that is mainstream? The 2 of Swords and 6 of Wands. It's going to force Beyoncé to take a different direction in her music, because I genuinely believe she's not an authentic person. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe this is the end of, coming towards the end of the Beyoncé era, and she's going to, like I said in my other readings of her I've done, and this is not me being a hater, I'm just being real. So say what you want, Beehive, I don't care. 6 of Cups, the Moon, and Page of Pentacles in reverse. So she's gonna have to release a lot. 4 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, and heal. And I still pick up the Jay-Z, her breakup happening. It's imminent, that breakup. So please let me know what you think. Please be respectful. I do delete nasty comments. So if you come for me, come for anybody in the reading. There's a difference between being honest and being rude. So when you come up to people and say, you're lying, blah, 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 that's, we're not going to do that. Everybody is allowed to have an opinion, but if you're rude, I will block you and you will get deleted. I love you all. Take care.